You're listening to the Watercooler Edit with Rich and Eman.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Watercooler Edit with my Bayut, hosted by myself, Eman, and Richard.
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right, and today we're doing something different. We are actually going to be exploring the most asked questions to BayutGPT. And if you don't know what BayutGPT is, it's the world's first AI-powered property search assistant. So you can go ahead and ask it any questions that you want related to the property market. So if you want to know what the general trends are in the UAE, what the cheapest rents are in Dubai, what the new off-plan projects are, you can do all that and more on there.
It is a font of knowledge.
Yeah.
It is. So it's going to be an interesting episode.
So Richard, the
Yes.
first question is actually about green projects in Abu Dhabi. And this was actually interesting. I wasn't sure if people were actually curious about this.
Can I clarify something?
Yes.
Is this, when we say green projects, is this like environmentally friendly, sustainable projects or buildings that are painted green?
How many buildings are painted green, except for the ones that obviously
There are
have
some
that.
odd coloured buildings on Yas Island, actually. I've noticed that, but no, not too many green ones.
Yes, but going back to the green building, it's interesting that he said this because we've actually, in the past, we've wrapped a whole building in Abu Dhabi, the Bayut green with the Bayut branding.
Yeah?
For a while we had Chatta Tower wrapped in Dubai as well, but we had wrapped a building in Abu Dhabi on the Corniche side in Salam Street.
Nice. Bringing the emerald green to the Corniche, huh?
Yeah.
Loving the emerald green.
But going back to the question, yes, this is about sustainable projects, sustainable buildings in Abu Dhabi. So what are the most green projects? And I think there's a lot of interest in this question, mainly behind the fact that there is a UAE energy plan for 2030 that Abu Dhabi is basically spearheading. And I want to backtrack a little bit and explain the fact that Abu Dhabi has been really focused on sustainability for quite a while now.
A considerable amount of
A
time now,
considerable
yeah.
amount of time. So there are obviously globally recognized certifications as if your building or project, villa, mall even, is well certified or LEED certified. Abu Dhabi's actually created their own system called Estidama, which means sustainability in Arabic.
Okay.
And their rating is in a pearl system. So you could have a 1 pearl rated building, villa, project, etc. 2 pearl, 3 pearls, so on.
Going through to 5 pearls.
Yes.
Nice.
So that's actually really interesting that they've taken this initiative and they've, made their own system. And it's a requirement from 2010 onwards that all of the buildings in Abu Dhabi need to be a minimum of 1 pearl.
Okay.
And then you have massive sustainable developments like Masdar City, for example.
Yeah.
It
Riddled with pearls in Masdar City. I mean, there's not going to be too many 1 pearls there. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of multiple pearl buildings. Yeah.
So Masdar has their own requirements. If you are operating any kind of project or building there, it needs to be a minimum of 3 pearls.
Okay.
Yes,
Fair
and then
dues.
obviously it goes forward as well. So I think one of the main green communities or green projects in Abu Dhabi would be Masdar for sure. Because one, it is fully self-sustainable, right? I think it's one of the first major communities, and it's a full city within a city. So they have residences, they have offices, they have universities as well, parks, everything that you would need for any kind of lifestyle, and
It's a fully functioning city. It brings all those aspects to the table, as you say, commercial, residential, educational, facilities and everything. It is a fully functioning, sustainable city.
And they have institutes for solar power, nuclear power, things like that. There's lots of research and development being done there as well. So I think one of the greenest projects in Abu Dhabi would be that one. And it's a ready project, right? So you can go, you can move in, you can live, you can work there. I think the other project in Abu Dhabi is off-plan.
Yeah, well, that would be on Yas Island, the world famous Yas Island, and it is a sustainable city. There is a sustainable city coming to Yas Island. We're expecting potentially end of 2025 into 2026. Maybe the first units will be handed over in that timescale. Possibly, we'll see. The development is a partnership between Uldar. You say this way better than me. Go for it.
So Aldar Properties and then Diamond Developers.
Yes. Yeah, it's Uldar though. You say, because I say just Uldar. It's usually kind of, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Aldar. And Diamond Developers. And Diamond Developers have got previous.
Yes.
They've got previous when it comes to sustainable developments. And those previous are Sustainable City in Dubai and I believe in Sharjah as well. right? So they're stretching out to another emirate. Really, really exciting project. And I think it's going to be one of the landmark green projects, not just in Abu Dhabi, but across the UAE. So, guys, it's worth checking out, definitely.
Yeah, and they've taken prime real estate on Yas to make it sustainable, right? They've created a whole city behind it as well. And not just that, but Aldar have multiple other projects on Yas Island that they're aiming to be sustainable as well. So minimum 3 Pearl ratings, etc. And I think there's a lot of talk about all of these apartment buildings and a lot of these towers and things like that. But they're going to be launching a villa community that has a minimum of a 3 Pearl rating for just the houses and then a 2 Pearl rating for the community as well.
Really?
And then they have obviously other apartment towers and things like that launching across Yas. This is outside of the sustainable city, but on the island itself. So they've really taken that commitment seriously. And one project that I found really interesting, this is not on Yas, this is on Al Marja Island. So Aldar is actually collaborating with Mubadala to come up with a 2-tower commercial tower that they're actually going to have 5 pearls for. So it's gonna be
This is going to be the most sustainable building in the UAE, well, in Abu Dhabi certainly, potentially in the UAE as a whole, right?
as a whole, yep. So
Yeah.
it's called One Marja Place, and it's fully commercial. So I think that's also interesting. So it's not just residential developments, but a 5 pearl rated commercial building is going to be really interesting to see as well.
So that's interesting. So basically what we're saying at the moment, this will be the first one with 5 pearls, yeah? Ooh, nice. But look, I think it shows you that how committed they are to this. It's not just any kind of flash in the pan.
Yeah.
It's a consistent commitment in line with the vision of 2030, right? And I think it's going to become a thing that when you're potentially moving somewhere and that you will be very aware of how, like you said with the rating system, how sustainable the building or the property you're moving into is. Do you know what I mean? I think that will become just part of the whole property seeking journey moving forward. So exciting, green times.
Yeah.
Moving to the second question, okay? This is quite an interesting one, we think, hence why we picked it. Property hotspots in Abu Dhabi. So from a return on investment perspective.
Okay.
So places where you're going to get potential to bang for your buck. You're going to get some decent amount of cash back, be it through rent or selling on the property down the line, right? So shall we delve into these lucrative areas?
Yeah, I think it's also interesting because people ask these specific questions, and I think there's a lot of data online. Even in our market reports, we feature, average prices for rent, for sale, and then we feature ROI, and then we feature it based on different segments and things like that. So I think a lot of people are just curious about what is literally the best place to invest from a return on investment perspective.
Yeah,
and
100%.
for both apartments and villas, right? So do you want to walk us through the apartments list?
Yep, I'll hit you up with. So we're going to go with the top 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So starting the list with, I'll go third, and then we'll build up to number 1, right? Okay. So in third place is Al Reem Island with a return on investment of 6.88%, which is pretty tasty. Now, Al Reem Island, correct me, your geography of the UAE, right? Your knowledge of geography of the UAE is way better than mine, right? So Al Reem Island is pretty central to Abu Dhabi city, isn't it?
Yes, it's also a luxury area. So it's central in the sense that it's towards the Corniche side. So
Okay.
it's an island on its own. It's a very bustling, very busy, very lively community, but also very calm as well in the sense that because it's slightly remote, right?
Okay, nice. All right. So that comes in, and that's where 6.88% is not to be sniffed at, right? So that's pretty decent. So that's our third place. In second place, we need some kind of drum roll, right? In second place, we've got Al Gadir. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
I'm going to pronounce it. Whee! That's at 8.22%. Again, explain to me where Al Gadir is.
So Al Gadir is actually outside of Abu Dhabi. It lies more towards the Dubai and Abu Dhabi border. So essentially, it's closer to Dubai than it is to Abu Dhabi.
Oh, really? What, near kind of Gantu
yes.
kind of way? Ah, okay. So
And, that's also a sustainable community. And it is also launched by Aldar.
Aldar. Okay, yeah, because there were a number of questions with regard to Aldar on BayutGPT. Aldar, he says it Yeah, hopefully I'll get it right. I'll see if I say it 20 times during the podcast, I might get it right once or twice. But we might revisit that in a future episode as to what their projects are. Their projects within Abu Dhabi, but their projects that are obviously coming to Dubai as well. So maybe we'll revisit that another time. But moving on to number one for apartments, ROI based in Abu Dhabi, Al Reef tops the list at 8.94%. So there's potentially some serious cash to be made there. In Al Reef, you can have happy times in Al Reef. What again? Where is Al Reef?
Al Reef is located more towards the suburbs of Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
And it's a little bit of a commuter way, but it's a very nice.
So if you were driving from, sorry to interrupt you, if you were driving from Dubai and you went past Yaz, you went past Saadiyat, and then you get to Abu Dhabi City, is it the other side or is it?
It would be the other side. It would be near MBZ City, Khalifa City A. And I actually don't think if you're driving into Abu Dhabi, would you go through Yas and Saadiyat. You go from under D.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You can.
But it's interesting that these are the areas that pop up because Al Reem Island tops the Abu Dhabi market report each time when it comes to luxury apartments. Al Ghadir is also on the list for affordable, and Al Reef tops it for both affordable villas and apartments every single time. And it's also the area that has the highest ROI regardless.
Yeah. So the popularity's there, and the return on investment is potentially there. So if only I had some money to invest. You never know. One day. I know where I can invest when I've got the money to invest.
To do that as well. So I think for villas, it's a slightly different list. Base ROI starts at 7%. So over there we have Al Ghadir, if I'm not mistaken.
You are.
And then
you are not mistaken. So yes, you are correct. Yes.
And then we have Hydra Village at 8%.
Okay.
So Hydra Village is also a remote community, lots of affordable villas. They are smaller in number, so actually finding stock gets quite challenging. And then the top of the list, surprisingly, is Nurai Island. So I think the return on investment when it comes to villas is completely different. It's areas that are not very popular or very well known for being villa communities. Right? Al Ghadir is primarily apartment based, but their villas have great ROI. Hydra Village is primarily villa based, but it's such a small community and it's generally just marked as affordable that people kind of brush it under the rug. And Nurai Island is completely new. There's also very limited stock there as well. So maybe that's actually contributing to the fact that it has such high ROI because the units are in demand.
Yeah, the figures. If the demand is there, that's obviously going to have an impact in the figures, right? So yeah, that makes sense. Can I ask you something about Hydra Village?
Yes.
Hydra Village.
Yes.
If you live there,
Yes.
do you have to be part of the criminal organisation from the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
No.
You don't have to be. That's good. All right, that's good to know. So
I would compare Hydra Village to Damak Hills 2 in Dubai.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
It's like that community.
Okay. Or some people think Damak Hills 2 is properly remote. Is it?
It is remote.
It is remote in that. Okay, well, that's interesting. It's good to know. I
And
wonder why they chose Hydra. Because it's the whole thing. If you've cut off one head, another one grows, and all that, isn't it? That's what Hydra is. Snakes.
Maybe that's what they want to do with the community at some point.
Just keeps growing.
Just keep growing.
Yeah, just keep. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, but there you go. So it's 8% is the ROI on Hydra Village.
And then Nurai Island is the most, which is very close to 9%.
And this is the last time I'm going to hit you up for, I promise, for Abu Dhabi geography. But where Nurai Island, whereabouts? Like for someone who doesn't know much more about, I know where Saadiyat is, Yaz, then sketchy.
It's on the other side, more off towards where Al Wateen, the Corniche, etc. are. So it's completely on its own.
Okay. All right, good stuff.
It's really popular. It's near that tourist club area. So I don't know if you've.
I know actually I do know the tourist club area. Yes, there you go. Yes, I have. I think I've gone, but I haven't necessarily gone in, but gone past a few times. So
Nurai Island is supposed to be this ultra luxury escape. It's similar to the World Islands in Dubai. So they have a resort set up there now. They're actually establishing residences there. So you can only reach it by yacht or boat. That is how remote it is.
Oh, I think I know this because I think this is terrible, but my wife was watching Real Housewives of Dubai, and I think they went on a retreat to Nurai Island. And I have to say, guys, awful TV show, but the place looked lovely.
It is. It's supposed to be super luxurious, super serene.
It certainly, it really did look that way. Actually, I have to say, I would be more than happy to acquire an abode there, especially with an ROI of 8.6%, 8.68%. There we go. It's easy for me to say.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, it's close to 9%. It's supposed to be super lucrative. So there's that. But now I think we should move on to Dubai.
I completely agree. We've gone 2 questions in Abu Dhabi. Let's head back to Dubes.
Yes. So the next question on BayutGPT is actually about what are the most popular places in Dubai for you to buy residential land. And I think this is interesting because there's so much talk about people buying homes here or making the UAE, Dubai specifically, their home. Not a lot of people actually go through the whole ordeal of buying the land, building a plot. Often a lot of people flip houses or they completely refurbish, renovate, etc. But that's still within a certain community, right?
Yep.
Over here, this is them actually buying residential land and constructing their own home. And I think it's interesting that now this type of property is coming about as well.
I find it really interesting because it's just the ability to be able to design your own house. Like to buy the plot of land and literally sit from the foundations up, and you can almost have it bespoke. If you've got the money and you've got the will, you can have it bespoke to exactly how you want it to have. What a fantastic, look, the majority of us probably won't ever be in this situation, but if you can, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd get proper creative. Water shoots, everything. Water shoots as in, inside the house.
And what's actually interesting is the first community that was launched here, where you could buy the plots, and the whole community was essentially based around 90% plots. What do you think that community is, Richard?
Is it Murdiff?
No. For
that's
expats,
that's actually
I would say
Murdiff's an
freehold.
area as opposed to a community.
Yeah, it could be an area community where you can buy the land. It was launched that way, where you are supposed to buy the plot. And it's freehold, right? So expats can buy as well.
It's really, really...
I didn't ask him this beforehand, so I'm
Yeah, this is why I'm stumbling. But it's a good question. I'm going to say... No, because I was going to say the Springs, but it wouldn't... No, because they all look... Yeah. Give me an area, a clue.
You're very close with the Springs.
The Meadows?
No. Meadows was also sold pre-built, essentially, right? With the layouts.
So I'm in the right geographical area?
One more chance and then I'll reveal it.
I can't think of another one. You go for it. Hit me with it.
Emirates Hills. Emirates Hills was sold plot-based. That's why when you go there, each of the villas is completely different.
Yikes. And if some of them, the character is just something something to behold. But it's, when we say the villas, we're talking the mansions, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, the mansions. But I never knew that. That's really interesting. See, that's what you should come to this podcast for, guys. The nuggets of information that Eman's going to unleash, and nothing else, because I'm not providing anything.
No. So I think residential land has really evolved since then. Obviously, not everybody can afford Emirates Hills. Emirates Hills is mind-blowing amounts of money. But there are lots of other communities now where you can buy the land, build your own house. The most affordable is Damak Hills too.
Yep.
You could actually buy there for about 800,000 for just the plot.
Yeah, so this has blown me away because we were just discussing this, guys, and I had no idea, because obviously I've got friends who live in Damak Hills too. I'm quite familiar. And obviously they're pre-built, right? So people buy the pre-built and all the rest of it. So I didn't know this was even a feasible option there, which makes it kind of like, because if you can get your plot and there's space. Yeah. There's a lot of space. That's where one thing we can safely say is there's a lot of space out there, right? Yes. So that's good. So what kind of prices are we talking?
So it starts from 800,000.
Right.
And then it moves on depending obviously on the size of the plot.
Yeah.
So I think for Damak Hills too, an area that is known for its very budget-friendly space and layout, this is an interesting option where you can actually customize that, right?
Yep. Very much so, yeah. You've got the 2 beds, 3 beds, 4 beds.
And they're all just...
Yeah, it's... yeah, they're not the most spacious. Yeah. I think it's fair to say, right? But yeah, so this obviously would give people the option to
Customize that.
go bespoke, customize, and have themselves some big old rooms.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Another area that's historically been very popular for residential plots is Jebel Ali. I think, again, makes sense. There's a lot of space out there. Prices that are actually quite expensive now. They start at around the 2.5 million range
Yeah.
for just the plot. So obviously, I think apart from the Mark Hills 2, that's the only budget-friendly option you have for buying plots. After that, it goes way, way, way up.
Yeah.
So you have areas like Furjan, where the average price is 5 million. Furjan is also a very popular area for people to customize their own homes. Again, that's why when you go through certain, streets and certain areas within Furjan, you'll see lots of very different houses, and that's the reason why.
Yeah.
So they're all not just the same, cookie cutter kind of approach. And there's a lot
I quite like it when we go through areas like that. I think we're so used to going through like the kind of communities now where it's all that they're very nice, but it's very cookie cutter.
Yeah.
It's nice to go through places where there's actually like we said before, the individual character of the different houses. It's kind of cool, right?
It is.
You know?
Barsha is another one. So Barsha also has a lot of unique homes.
Bet that comes cheap.
Barsha, I believe the average price there is 7 million for just the plot.
Yeah.
Because again, it's centrally located now, right? It's a very
yeah, very
prime
much so.
community. They have a lot of schools, they have a lot of amenities, Mall of the Emirates is close by. From a connectivity perspective, obviously that drives the price up. And the most expensive location when expats can actually now buy plots because there is a joint collaboration between Miras and the Dubai Holding is Nadal Shiva. But the starting price for that is 10.2 million onwards.
10.2 million dirhams.
For the plot.
Yeah, for
and then
the
you
plot.
have to pay for the house.
Yeah, they actually build their house on
Yeah.
top of that. Yeah, no problem. I'll get two plots. No, but look, it's a beautiful area, right?
Yes.
You can understand. Well, what I'd say is it's not surprising that the price tags are up at what they're up. You'd expect it was never going to be cheap, right?
Exactly.
But what a stunning area to
Yeah.
build your dream home, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And then obviously there are lots of other communities where you can buy residential plots, but those are reserved for, local or GCC residents. So over there, like areas like Mirdif, Kawanij, Warka, you will see a lot of these, individual homes. Jumeirah, for example, as well.
Yeah,
Jumeirah
very
has
much
a
so
mix
in
of-
Jumeirah, yeah.
villas, compounds, things like that. So again, over there, residential plots are available, but again, difficult to find, and you have to be of a certain nationality in order to purchase.
Yeah, so basically it's the main thing is, guys, do your research and see where is available to you and where isn't, and potentially make your decisions from there. But it's an interesting subject, it really is. And the Mac Hills 2 thing is still, I'm blown away by that, I had no idea. So cool.
Yep. So just to recap, top areas to buy residential plots in Dubai. We have Damak Hills 2, Jebel Ali, Barsha, Furjan, and Nadal Shiva.
Nice.
So that wraps up that question. Now, on our final question, I think this was asked not just once, but in so many different variations. And it was about, can you actually buy a townhouse in Dubai under 1 million?
Can you?
Yes, you can.
That's good. So we do actually have an answer for that question. Well, hey.
We have two answers. So there are two communities in Dubai that you can currently actually buy a townhouse.
Okay.
So one of them is Verdana in Dubai Investment Park, so DIP.
Oh, yeah. I know, yeah.
So this has actually had two phases. Prices are actually pretty reasonable. They're starting at 850,000 for a one-bed townhouse. So I think this concept is also so cute. There are these one-bed loft-style townhouses.
Yeah, I was going to say, how does that work? One-bed townhouse. How does it work? Yeah,
So the way that it works is that it's like a loft. Essentially, it's like a loft, but it's a standalone property. By standalone, I mean it's like a villa. It's not a loft in a building. It's kind of similar to, I think, how you have them in the UK, one-story townhouse.
Oh, we have some houses in the UK that are so small you wonder how people actually live in them. No, I do. No, because obviously we have quite a large population considering the amount of land,
space,
right?
yeah.
That has an effect on the size of the house.
So these are basically single row townhouses. They're all put together. They're all basically essentially one story. So you have the kitchen and the living room downstairs, and then you have a staircase within, and then you have the bedroom and all of the other elements.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I want to check those out. Verdana is reportage.
Yes, by reportage.
Yeah, okay.
So that is currently off plan. So if you invest now, it should be ready by 2027. And all of those are around 700, 800 square feet. So the starting price is 800 to 850,000. They do have 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom townhouses, but obviously those don't fit in the 1 million budget.
Yeah.
The second community also has 1-bedroom townhouses, and that's starting at about 900,000. So that's Rukon in the Bayland.
Okay.
So I feel like this whole concept of loft townhouse is really interesting, especially because there are so many people that are moving here that are single, right?
Yeah.
Or that are just couples, that are smaller families. So they still want to have the advantage of, say, a villa, but they may not necessarily need all of that space.
Yeah, it makes sense. Look, I mean, if it's if these places are getting hoovered up, which it sounds like they are, people who are interested, there's only going to lead to once there's a demand there, it's inevitable that there's going to be a supply, right? So
Because I think a lot of people are also not used to hearing about this 1-bedroom townhouse unit.
yeah, I completely agree. I think there'll be a lot of people genuinely surprised who just haven't heard of it at all. You know?
Exactly. And the interesting thing about Rukon is that it's actually ready. So partially off plan, partially ready. The ready units are retailing. So a 1-bed townhouse for rent is about 85,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can buy it under $1 million. That's actually not a
Can I
bad.
ask? This is putting you on the spot a little bit. Do you know what kind of square footage you're talking about?
Yeah. So even that's similar. It's in the 600 to 800 range.
Really?
For
Okay.
the whole house.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
So you can buy a townhouse under 1 million.
Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised. I thought this was going to be the quickest section of the podcast because it was just basically going to be,
No.
can you buy a townhouse for under 1 million in Dubai? No, you can't. I thought I was going to. So there we go. We've all learned something today. Nice, huh? No, I want to check. I really do want to check those out because I had no idea.
So that's why you should ask BayutGPT all of these questions because it does all of the research for you. You just have to look at whatever answer it gives. So if you have any questions about the property market that you're unsure about, anything that you're actually genuinely curious about, or things that you need answers for, just go ahead, ask BayutGPT. It's super easy. You can find out if there is a townhouse in Dubai under 1 million. You can find out what the best, or most sustainable projects in Abu Dhabi are, what areas have the highest ROI in Abu Dhabi. And it's actually really interesting because when we were going through all of these questions, people have legitimately put in their exact search requirement. So they're like, I need a 1-bed under this amount with 2 bathrooms available in Motor City. It shouldn't be 20 minutes more commute time to Internet City. I was like, okay, wow. That's like a whole conversation that they're asking, and BayutGPT is able to answer those questions. And give them.
You can go as specific as you want to go, and BayutGPT will keep up with you. It's so there's a whole the information available to you there. It's just really it's so worth checking out, and it's quite easy rather than having to go and yourself and utilize and do the research. Let BayutGPT help you out. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, exactly.
World's first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
world's first.
So as a roundup, we've discussed a lot of different questions that people have asked BayutGPT. So questions from, can you actually buy a townhouse in Dubai for under 1 million? What are the most popular areas to buy residential land in Dubai? Top areas for ROI in Abu Dhabi, the best green projects, the best sustainable projects in Abu Dhabi. All this and so much more is what people are asking on BayutGPT. Because I want to do a part 2 for this.
Yeah.
Once, there are other questions on there as well. Because
Nice.
obviously search trends evolve as per time, right? So I think a lot of these Abu Dhabi sustainability questions are coming in because of the energy plan and because 2024 was the year of sustainability. So I'm sure people were curious about that. And like you said, maybe mindsets are shifting and people are focusing more on, okay, I want my investment to be sustainable.
I mean, there were some questions we looked at. I mean, there were some interesting questions with regard to Deira Islands, now Dubai Islands, and properties on there, and the mall on there. All these kind of things that we didn't actually include in this episode. And there were so many questions we could have used. So I think it's well worthy of a part 2. Hell, might even become a trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. Might even. But yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead, ask BayutGPT, explore it, and let us know your feedback as well.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Let us know. We really like to hear. We do read that stuff, and we'd love to hear from you.
So go ahead, ask your questions, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers, guys.
You're listening to the Water Cooler Edit with Rich and Eman.